When it comes to making a responsible energy decision for your family and the planet, choose clean natural gas from Atmos Energy. Natural gas is safer and more reliable than other energy solutions and can reduce your home's carbon emissions by up to 45%. By using less total energy than other energy sources, natural gas lowers your impact on the environment. It's just another way that Atmos Energy makes your life better. Atmos Energy, your natural gas company.
Thanks, Louisiana. Now that you have Blue Cross coverage, be sure to get the most out of your benefits.
No matter where you are, you're covered through and through. We got a Blue for you.
I'm covered.
From Lake Charles, North Round, Shangulu.
Covered.
From Venice to Vidalia, back over.
I'm
No
covered.
matter where you are, you're covered through and through. We got a Blue for you.
Go to bcbsla.com and get the most out of your Blue Cross coverage.
The Quarter Pounder with cheese. The perfect ratio of cheese to beef to cheese. Its inventor thought burger and then stopped thinking. What it lacks in frills, it makes up for in beef. The only thing that's fancy about it is the ketchup. It's everything you love about a burger and absolutely nothing else. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Hello and welcome to week one of the 2015 edition of the Coach Roger Cador Show. Clarence Buggs along with the coach at the Embassy Suites Hotel, Baton Rouge's newly remodeled premier lodging institution, 4914 Constitution Avenue. Coach, we start a new season with lots of changes for college baseball, changes that particularly affect Southern University.
It really does, and you know, one is the ball, but the most when we look at from the academic standpoint that is taking place at Southern University is what has happened in the SWAC. Southern now becomes the Vanderbilt of the SWAC as it relates to academics, and it affects a lot of kids. And so we have to be patient for everything to take its place, fall into whole, and we understand the process.
From a layperson's point of view, when we say be patient, because we all know the Jaguar Nation, what they're accustomed to, and what the legacy of Southern University baseball is. Realistically, what kind of time frame are we talking about to make that adjustment?
Well, we need to, after this year, it's going to take a couple more years. And people don't understand, but it is what it is. And when you look at the academic structure that is taking place, we really have to be patient because it takes that time to weed out what was in there and to bring in fresh blood to be able to execute the game plan.
Speaking of fresh blood, the game itself trying to breathe some new life back into the offensive side of baseball. What's been the reception in the collegiate baseball community to the new ball?
Well, that new ball is going to create some excitement. Now, what we have to do is go out and get the kind of kids that can take advantage of it and drive the ball. But again, as like anything else, it takes time. But we're going to be there. I'll show you. If I can have the people to be patient and not force me to jump off the Mississippi River Bridge, we'll be all right.
Speaking of that, new year, new faces, hopefully new attitude as well. How hard has the new staff been working for a new attitude with this team?
Well, I must say the new staff has been outstanding, from Dane Canaveri to Jason Anderson to graduate assistant Elliot Jones. They understand the process, and let me tell you, we're implementing the game plan, and we're going to stick with it because to force people to fit into a game plan takes time. It's not like taking a baby and sticking a pacifier in the mouth. It's not going to work. It's going to take the long burn.
What about the kids? How receptive have they been? I mean, obviously, there's a distinct advantage having been with this coaching staff longer than this time a year ago.
Well, I think the thing that has helped us the most is the dressing room. The kids having a dressing room, you could see the positive attitude and the self-confidence it's building within them.
Obviously, assistant coach Fernando Puebla, big part of this program. Any word on his status and what does he mean to these kids in this program?
I'm glad you asked because Fernando, I feel, based upon what immigration is saying, is right around the corner. And again, like anything else, you have to be patient. It's been a long term. And I often tell people when they ask, why have you waited so long for Fernando? And I say to them, if you were in Fernando's situation, you would want Roger Cador doing the same thing for you that I'm doing for Fernando.
The old folks say there isn't anything worth having that isn't worth working and waiting for.
Oh, Clarence, you're so good.
You're the man. When we come back, segment 2 of this week's edition of the Coach Roger Cador Show. Stay with us.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
Eureka! What in tarnation? It's gold! The gold rush is on!
The rush is on for Gold Rush from the lottery. Win up to $200,000.
It's gold!
Get in the rush with Gold Rush from the lottery.
Trust is the key that transforms strangers into friends.
At Southern Teachers and Parents Federal Credit Union, we believe in lending a helping hand.
Transforming your dreams into reality. Because with friends, you can do anything.
Come on by and check out our competitive loan rates. We'll see your dreams come to life.
Whichever loan, we have you covered.
Hi, Coach Roger Cador here. I know adversity, and when you need legal help, you need to find Fletcher now.
Coach is always right. When you've been hurt, we can help.
Lawyer up with Ralph, Richard, and Ryan. They know the law.
I'm attorney Ralph Fletcher. Our law firm helps people every day. We can help you.
Make sure you cover all your bases. Call Ralph, Richard, and Ryan, 888-8000.
Or find FletcherNow.com.
888-8000.
Welcome back to segment 2 of this week's edition of the Coach Roger Cador Show. Coach, last season, mental errors really hurt us a lot. How tough is it to coach getting that out of the kids' heads?
Well, it's not the easiest thing in the world. Losing become habit forming just like winning.
Right.
And people don't really understand it until you start putting a team together. You need positive influence, you need encouragement, and you know, those kids, when things went wrong, they couldn't correct it. They didn't have enough willpower within themselves to do it, and certainly coaches can do so much, but coaches don't swing the bat, they don't run the bases, they don't throw the ball, even though we get blamed for it, and that's the way it should be. But you know, we got into a funk last year. We just couldn't turn it around. The kids played well for 7 innings, and they couldn't close it out for the 8th and 9th inning.
Obviously, this team understands that that's not indicative of Southern University baseball. New team, younger faces coming in on board the lineup now. Are they going to be able to wash that bad taste out of their mouths and play Jaguar baseball?
You know, one day I was running sprints. I had them running sprints. And one of the seniors said, we're going to do them hard because we don't want to experience what we did last year. And that's all that I can say, you know, because the kids have to determine if they want to change the face of what happened last year. We can put all of the elements in front of them. We can give them all of the motivational talks. at the end of the day, they have to want to do it.
But now, them wanting to do it, you and the coaching staff emphasizing it, all that's one thing. But how important is the older bunch going to be and getting the new kids on the block, so to speak, to buy into what we're trying to do this year?
Well, let me just say that and make it really clear, Clarence. If the old kids don't do it after 5 or 6 games, they're not going to get many more games to prove that they can do it. I'm going with younger kids, and we'll lose with younger kids and be ready for the next year. I'm only going to give the older kids just so many more opportunities because they've been there, and they have to know they have to produce. So if they don't produce, the younger kids going to get their chance.
How much more difficult is coaching the mental aspect of the game versus the physical aspect, particularly when you're talking about young people?
Well, young people are going to make more mistakes, but as long as they're aggressive, hungry mistake, any coach can live with them. Now, the fans may not be able to live with it, but that's a different thing. The fans are not there every day, and they're going to coach from the stand, and I want them to criticize me, not the kids.
Right. So far this year, almost a duplicate of last year. Weather has been giving us problems. We had to miss the Nickel State contest earlier this year. Is it too early for Roger Cador to get a feel for how he's feeling about this team right now?
When God works is involved, I have no problem. The feel means nothing. Listen, we'll play enough games to get a feel and do exactly what we need to do.
When we come back, we will move ahead to segment 3 of this week's edition of the Coach Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Thanks, Louisiana. Now that you have Blue Cross coverage, be sure to get the most out of your benefits.
No matter where you are, you're covered through and through. We got a blue for you.
I'm covered.
From Lake Charles, North Round, Shangulu.
Covered.
From Venice to Rodeo, by Cocoa.
I'm covered.
No matter where you are, you're covered through and through. We got a blue for you.
Go to bcbsla.com and get the most out of your Blue Cross coverage.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
Hey, Coach, it sounds like savings to me.
Yes, that and an easy Diamond Mazda buying experience.
As easy as can be. Just go to your computer or your cell phone, go to DiamondMazda.com, view all our inventory, new and pre-owned, apply for credit, and get approved in seconds.
Now, that sounds easy, Jeremy.
On Airline Highway or on the web, you know, we'll be waiting for you.
The Quarter Pounder with cheese. The perfect ratio of cheese to beef to cheese. Its inventor thought burger and then stopped thinking. What it lacks in frills, it makes up for in beef. The only thing that's fancy about it is the ketchup. It's everything you love about a burger and absolutely nothing else. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Welcome back to segment 3 of this week's edition of the Coach Roger Cador Show. It's time now for an inside look at Jaguar athletics. This week, our special correspondent, Aaron Fulbright, speaks with Athletic Director William Broussard. Take it away, Aaron.
Thank you, Clarence. This week I got the chance to talk with Athletic Director Dr. William Broussard about the 2015 baseball season, the new baseball field house, and the other sports happening on the Bluff right now.
2015 Jaguar baseball season, and the team isn't the only one excited. Athletic Director Dr. William Broussard, who's going into his 3rd baseball season here at Southern, is excited as well for not only baseball, with the spring sports season ahead.
Well, anytime you have a chance to line up and compete, you're excited about it. You know, we had student athletes. You know, this is my third baseball season since arriving at Southern, and you know, you're excited about every opportunity to compete. You're excited about every opportunity to get out there and measure yourself against your conference competition and competition across the nation. So,
when you visit Lee Hines Fields this season and look to your left, you will notice that the new baseball field house is complete. Coach Roger Cador and his program moved into their new home last month. Broussard shared how this field house has been in the making since he came to Southern a little over 2 years ago, and how seeing it completed is a great feeling.
Well, when I arrived in 2012, had some conversations with Coach Cador about a state appropriation that Southern University had received to build a new field house for the baseball team, and so we had some meetings with the chancellor and with our facility support staff here on campus, and we know that the student athletes and the coaches really appreciate being there. We think it bodes well for us, not only in terms of recruiting, but in terms of the pride that our current student athletes will take in the facility, and that our alumni will see that they played a small part in helping advance the program to the point that we could be in position to build this kind of facility for our baseball program.
Coach Cador is going into his 30th year of coaching at Southern, and the famous SU versus LSU game is coming to Lee Hines Field on March 17th. Broussard talked about the tremendous opportunity of hosting some of the great competition this season here at Southern.
You know, it was difficult for him to remember a more impressive home slate. To have 4 2014 NCAA regional participants, Jackson State, UL Lafayette, who was a #1 team for a number of weeks last year, LSU in southeastern Louisiana, and also South Dakota coming in.
The rest of the spring semester has lots to offer for Jaguar fans when it comes to sports. We have softball, women's tennis, the remaining of men's and women's basketball, and men's and women's track.
And softball, 20 games or so that we'll host here at Southern for a team that was a runner-up last year in the Western Division and continuing to a 5-time defending champion tennis team. We'll have 6 more contests here before the end of the season. Our track program will host Pelican Relays at the end of March, which is a good opportunity to see some extremely talented student athletes. We've got 3 more basketball doubleheaders left as well. And you know, our men's team sitting in 3rd place right now, our women's team sitting tied for 1st place right now, both defending conference champions. Lots of great opportunities to come out and support Southern University student athletes.
We host about 25 baseball games this season, and season tickets are only $50. Come support your Jaguars.
Dr. Broussard also commented about how the student-athlete success in the classroom was made possible by the new academic resources that were brought on by the increase in revenue gained from fans supporting our sporting events. So we encourage you all to go out and purchase your 2015 baseball season books for only $50. Back to you, Clarence.
Aaron, thank you. When we come back, it will be segment 4 of this week's edition of the Coach Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Hi, Coach Roger Cador here. I know adversity, and when you need legal help, you need to find Fletcher now.
Coach is always right. When you've been hurt, we can help.
Lawyer up with Ralph, Richard, and Ryan. They know the law.
I'm attorney Ralph Fletcher. Our law firm helps people every day. We can help you.
Make sure you cover all your bases. Call Ralph, Richard, and Ryan, 888-8000.
Or find FletcherNow.com.
888-8000.
Trust is the key that transforms strangers into friends.
At Southern Teachers and Parents Federal Credit Union, we believe in lending a helping hand.
Transforming your dreams into reality. Because with friends, you can do anything.
Come on by and check out our competitive loan rates. We'll see your dreams come to life.
Whichever loan, we have you covered.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach.
There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg, we just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Welcome back to segment 4 of this week's edition of the Coach Roger Cador Show. Coach, let's look offensively and defensively, the breakdown for this season. Offensively, who are we looking at to lead the way?
I tell you, we had that band playing for us when we played. We probably would do a lot better.
Well, that's because there's always a party when the Roger Cador Show is going on. That's all that is.
It's a party. But, you know, offensively and defensively, we just have to improve offensively, take better at-bats. The approach have to be better. And keep one thing in mind, you're playing for the team and not yourself. As it relates to defense, I'm really am pleased with what we're doing defensively because we're making the routine plays. And if you do that, you're going to be successful.
Obviously, from an offensive standpoint, generating more runs at the plate takes a load off the pitching staff, correct?
Especially a young pitching staff. I think Coach Dane Canterbury has done an outstanding job of preparing them and coming up with game plan. And the key is we have a system that we're putting in place, and the system is going to be the key. We're not going to deviate from the system. We have to make people believe in it, and it takes time for the system to kick in. And young people sometimes have a quick way of trying to get out of it, but we're not going to let that happen.
Speaking of pitching, last year we had trouble with our bullpen blowing games when we handed them the lead. How do we look as far as our bullpen is concerned this year?
Right. Well, it's early. It's too early to tell.
Okay.
And I have a saying, it's too soon to tell, the jury is still out. But based upon the system we're putting in, I feel quite comfortable with what we're doing.
DJ Wallace, Jose De La Torre, both been named first team All-SWAC selections. How hard are we going to be leaning on these two young men from a leadership standpoint this year?
Well, everybody can't be a leader. And I don't think neither one of those guys are leaders.
Really?
No, I don't really think they're leaders. And that's not bad. Mm-hmm. You see, people think when you say, there are only few leaders that are born.
Right.
These guys are just players.
They lead by example.
Yes, they're not leaders, and that's not a negative.
Right.
Because we don't have a leader.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's very, very, very difficult to find leaders. God only created so many leaders. People are players, and those guys are not leaders.
From a coaching standpoint, if you had your druthers, would you want leaders or would you want players that lead by example?
I would want players that lead by example because it's going to take years before you can really have leaders. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't happen. I mean, I've been coaching 30 years, and I probably have only had 4 or 5 leaders. So that lets you know how difficult it is. But people can still be very successful if they do what they're supposed to do.
Your job is to do your job.
There you go.
When we come back, we'll wrap up this week's edition of the Coach Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Tarnation, it's gold! The gold rush is on!
The rush is on for Gold Rush from the lottery. Win up to $200,000.
It's gold!
Get in the rush with Gold Rush from the lottery.
Coach, it sounds like savings to me.
Yes, that and an easy Diamond Mazda buying experience.
As easy as can be. Just go to your computer or your cell phone, go to DiamondMazda.com, view all our inventory, new and pre-owned, apply for credit, and get approved in seconds.
Now, that sounds easy, Jeremy.
On Airline Highway or on the web, you know, we'll be waiting for you.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Welcome back to the closing segment of this week's edition of the Coach Roger Cador Show. Coach, this season, how important is it going to be for this team not to fall behind early in games, particularly when it comes to conference play?
Well, you don't want to put that pressure on them because they can fall behind.
Right.
The key is to give them the confidence that knowing that you still have 27 outs and you can do a lot of things even after you fall behind.
Knowing last year's performance was not indicative of typical Jaguar baseball, how hard do you think that weighed on these young kids' minds in the offseason?
Very difficult because they heard about it. And so we need to make sure that they're encouraged not to do the same thing they did last year.
We've been picked to finish 4th in the Western Division this year, an unfamiliar place for Jaguar baseball. Of course, now, on the other hand, the games are won on the field and not on paper, right?
I like the fact that we'll finish. They picked us to finish 4th. There's no pressure. Now you have something to prove.
Last year, injury bug showed us no mercy whatsoever. How are we stacking up injury-wise at this early stage of the season?
Well, we have 2 pitchers out, but we'll be okay. I think if we keep doing the little things, we'll be quite fine.
You're fond of saying that in this game, it's not always the best talent that wins. It's execution and doing the little things well. How important is that going to be for us this year?
Extremely difficult because we don't have the great talent. So we need to do little things every day.
Again, we are on location at the Embassy Suites Hotel, 4914 Constitution Avenue, newly remodeled Embassy Suites, Baton Rouge's brand new premier lodging facility. If you haven't been out, come on out. You're missing a treat. On behalf of the coach, Roger Cador, I'm Clarence Buggs. We'll see you next week with another edition of the Coach Roger Cador Show.